Okay, we've just released a new version of Minsky, and I want to illustrate why that was done. It was because we discovered a bug, which was the fatal bug that made working with godly tables just impossible, when godly tables are Minsky's main feature, in that it lets you use double entry bookkeeping to create stock flow consistent models of financial transfers, which are very hard to do in any other program. The fact that you have the double entry bookkeeping makes it quite easy to make sure your various equations are balanced. So what I'm going to have is just a very simple model here, where I start off by talking about reserves and loans as the assets of the banking sector, deposit accounts of firms and workers, pardon me, it's been a long morning, firms and workers as the liability to the bank, and then finally bank to call its equity. Now it's all well and good, and Minsky has now started defining a set of equations which, as I make entries inside these rows, will be expanded to give me the overall financial dynamics. So for example, if I show making a loan to firms, so I'll just say type lend underscore F, which gives you a lowercase here, and then show that's increased the debt of the bank, the debt of the firm sector to the bank, then interest payments, so there's interest taken out of the firm's account and being paid to the bank's account, and then you have repay. There's more operations, of course, that are necessary to show a full system, but I'll just do this to indicate the basic logic that Minsky provides. This, of course, by reducing your deposit account to repay your debt, also reduces your loans. Come back over here, all's going nice and well. Now the problem came up when you decided, I want to have an extra column inside here. Let's say I want to have one for shareholders. Fine. Watch what happens when I click away to the bank term here on the equity account. Boom. This is what's called a boundary condition bug. Doing on the boundary between the two forms causes table over columns to be renamed. Once you've done that, you can't have two equations for one variable, so you've got the duplicate column label bug detected, and that was just impossible. So I located the bug, which is often a hard thing to do. These things happen when you're not looking, and then suddenly, what the hell's gone wrong? I finally spotted this one because I need to give a presentation to actuaries, and I certainly don't want to have this problem turning up when I'm showing actuaries the power of Minsky as a way of modeling financial dynamics. But we found it, so I'll just load it in the new version and show it how it works. The reason for mentioning this now is that we have just received a grant from the Friends Provident Foundation of £200,000, which will be used to improve Minsky's usability, which of course means getting rid of bugs, dramatically decluttering the user interface and making it possible to define models in multiple ways, import-export capability with other programs people build dynamic models in, such as R, and a whole range of improvements to the quality of graphs and so on, and a user manual. So hopefully in a year's time, Minsky will be a much more powerful and much more user-friendly program to drive. This particular bug will not be there. It no longer is, and I'll show you that in the latest version in a moment. Okay, having installed the new version, just to show that it's 2.15.10. Let's go through the same procedure again. So I open a godly table, pardon me, make it larger so I can see more clearly what I'm doing here. Make this reserves. Loans again, I'll make it loans underscore F to make it obvious it's for the firm sector. And then firms underscore D for deposit account. Then we have workers underscore D for deposit account, and then bank for the banking sector's equity. And then let's just do the same story. So I have lend, so that's going to be increasing loans to the firm sector and increasing the deposit account as well. Interest payments, so you take interest payments out of the deposit account and pay it into the bank equity. And then when you do the repayment, you reduce the deposit account and reduce the loan as well. All very well and good. Come across to the equations. You're now getting Minsky filling out the links between those different equations there. And now let's go back and add an extra column, which is what caused the problem last time round. So go back to the godly table, create an extra column, make the window a bit wider so you can see it go in. Okay, so make this on this share underscore to shift share for shareholders account. Bang, that remains the same. You don't get a duplicated column over here, and you can keep on working. You can move elements around if you wish to, add more operations. So for example, let's say you have the payment of wages, then that money comes out of the firm's account and goes into the workers, and you can have dividends as well, let's say. And that's going to be a payment out of the firm's account into the shareholders and so on. And you're building up, as you do this, you're building up what can be an extremely elaborate model of the financial sector, but with all the accounting, despite the complexity, all the accounting properly recorded. And much more to come in Minsky as the year unfolds and we continue developing it courtesy of our grant from the Friends Provident Foundation.